to meet in the public eye. How great to have Russell Brand back on the show, one of my favourite guests of all time. It's lovely to have you here.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's lovely to be here. It's a lovely evening.
You look splendid. You look, you know, I'm obviously very much a heterosexual man, but doesn't Russell look quite sexy?
Thank you, and thank you for inciting that applause.
Yes, yes.
Hey, Jonathan, I tell you what's been challenged recently. That's my own heterosexuality, sat there next to Daniel Craig.
What an incredible-looking man.
He got something, can he? He emits something. He was sat there, I was sat here, he's there, just emitting something.
Well, look at him now he's...
Still emitting it?
Yeah.
It's so bloody swarthy!
Daniel, if I were you, I wouldn't touch any of the cushions nearby you, just in case. He may well have been rubbing himself up against them like a small puppy.
I left something back there for him.
I bet you did. But Daniel actually is, and we're not just saying this because you're coming on a minute, but one of the most stylish men in the country. I think he always gets it right. He's incredibly dapper and he's got brilliant style. Whereas look at us fools.
What a couple of oafs we must appear to Daniel. Look at him. We've not seen Risible sat here in all our finery. Him just back there, elegant as you like.
It's like a man from the future coming back and seeing two monkeys sitting on a couch. We're the same as you.
We're primitive.
We're Cro-Magnon.
Oh, no.
He's the man of the future.
We'll die out. Everyone will be like him.
All right, but let's talk first about... Well, this is about your life, but you have written part of your autobiography.
Well, yeah, because, of course, the thing with an autobiography is you can't write all of it because you would have to die first to do that.
Or die at the end of it.
Well, I mean, even then, I don't think I'd be... If I knew that death was upon me, I wouldn't spend my last hours on Earth writing an autobiography. No. I'd be out there doing opium and trying to chat up Daniel Craig.
Yeah. I think even if he knew that death's clawy hand was reaching out for you, he wouldn't give you a hand job.
He might. He's sympathetic. Oh, Daniel, I'm at death's door. Just a quickie for Her Majesty.
I don't think even James Bond is licensed for that. Yeah. OK, but it's a tremendous read. It's called My Bookie Work.
That's right, Jonathan.
OK, it's My Bookie Work.
Yes. I'm a writer.
Yeah.
That is what I called it.
And it starts off, well, it's a very dramatic point in your life. You start with yourself being checked into...
a treatment centre for sexual addiction.
What better start to a book than that could you find? Now, when was that?
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
I imagine just the worst of times, wouldn't it, really?
Pretty much the worst of times. In a sexual addiction centre, you're under a lot of pressure not to have sex.
Yes.
They made me sign a contract. My hands were trembling on account of the lack of the old hullabaloo. Again, difficult to grip the pen.
Yeah. So you were after it all the time, then?
I couldn't get enough monkey business.
Well, and you were thinking about it all the time as well?
Not really, because I was doing it. They say...
That's where we differ, of course. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
OK, so you were getting plenty. It wasn't like you were craving it, you needed it, you weren't getting it. You were craving it, you needed it, and you were getting it, so you must have been exhausted as much as anything else, and not that productive in other areas of your life.
No, that's right. It takes up all your time after a while. It becomes laborious. I mean, as much as I appreciate the awards and recognition, and indeed the orgasms, after a while, you need to have a jolly good sit down.
Yeah. OK, let's go way back there. So you start with the sex addiction clinic in the book, and I really enjoyed reading the book. Very much you did. Yeah. You start with the sex addiction, then you go back and you do talk about your younger years, of course.
Oh yes.
You know, you wouldn't think it to look at Russell in all his splendour and handsome glory now, but you had a troubled youth, and you weren't always the most attractive of young people, were you?
Well, my mum says I was, but that poor woman was deluded. I was a chubby little nitwit as a child.
There are some pictures in the book of you when you were a slightly more portly youngster. We show these not to mock, merely to illustrate
Let's
what we're
discussing.
Let's have
a look at those.
There we go.
Look, check it out.
Check it out, ladies. That's a little stud muffin in the making right there. Now, what were you thinking on the hair front there? What was that meant to be, do you think?
Well, really, I was just obviously a big fan of Morrissey, and I chose to express that through the top of my head.
Can we have a look at another picture? The one I'd like is of Russell sitting on the knee of an old gentleman with a beard. This is obviously a fond childhood memory, but quite terrifying. Now, Now, just if there was nothing else in the book, I think we would forgive you everything you do and say now, just for having gone through that, no doubt, traumatic experience.
It's very disappointing.
Where was that? Who was that?
I believe this gentleman is posing as Father Christmas. He just looks like he's eating a sanitary towel.
Look at there. See, I don't know whether it's just the teased up hair now, but you look very different there. Is this your drug phase there?
I was very much on drugs there. That is, yeah, there is no crueler condemnation of drugs than that photograph. Look at the state of me. And my drug habit was so bad that it even ruined my mum's haircut.
That isn't a great haircut, it has to be said. So this was you at home with your mother then. Did she know you were on drugs or not? Or
well, you know, sort of a little bit. But what can you do when if someone's a drug addict? It's a bloody nuisance. It must be putting up with it, tolerating it.
But you weren't an out-and-out baddie as a drug addict. You didn't go and steal things from your mother to finance your.
I didn't need to because she would go, all right, darling, have it. My dear old nan used to give me her pension. People were very kind. It was ridiculous collecting that pension because a lot of the other people were much older. I said, I know. Are you sure you're 65? Oh, you flirt. Marry me.
OK. Now, then, it won't surprise anyone, and once again, this is in... And I've got to say, genuinely, I haven't enjoyed a book, I think, so much for years. I really enjoyed it. And you wrote it yourself, because I read something in one of the papers intimating that perhaps it was ghost-written for you.
I was furious about that, Jonathan, fuming so as I were. I wrote that book myself. Initially, the intention was to write it with a ghostwriter, but I was always suspicious because the name, Ghostwriter. You think, don't want him around, he'll unsettle me. So then I'd done it all myself, and it were all the better for it.
Well,
much better
because
book.
it really reads like you're speaking to us, which is a good thing, I think.
Is it sometimes unnerving in the bath?
I haven't read it in the bath.
Give it a go.
No, but you know... let me ask you then about the curve you went on, because it seems to me that most people who get involved in drugs in the way you did, and to the extent you did, they find it pretty hard to get out of. Was it hard to shake? Was it hard to break their grip on you? Because I've only seen it in movies, and you see people shivering and shaking, and it's a hideous experience.
It's horrible, because what it is, Jonathan, is like heroin grants you a life of waking sleep, as if every moment is a dream, and then when you stop taking heroin and when you need sleep most, sleep will not visit you. You're awake, more awake than you've ever been before. You can't sneak off into a little bit of sleep, the comfort of sleep, and your legs shake constantly. That's where the phrase kick the habit comes from, because your legs are like that. It's really, really horrible.
But it must have been a pretty weird thing, I would have thought, because it becomes, from what I'm led to believe, pretty much an all-encompassing experience. It gives your days an odd sense of purpose. It's a lonely thing, but at the same time, you're out there, you're doing stuff, and you have that drive, a sort of purpose.
Yes.
And when it's gone, how do you replace that? What do you replace it with?
Sex.
Yeah.